Today we're going to do the online training tools with DRC. The first thing you're going to do is double click the DRC Insight app. It's a little bit different, but when you do the online tools training, you'll be clicking on the right hand side, online tools training, and that'll take you into all the subjects where you can go through with your teachers and test those tools. They'll be going over those with you, and we will also do an online tools training right before testing, but it's a good idea to get comfortable with these tools. The sooner the better. All right, and once you go all the way through, you'll just begin the test, and then you can practice using the tools up here. Again, we'll have a little bit more training a little closer to testing, but it's always a good idea to prepare yourself ahead of time. Click on the tools, and from here, you're gonna select one of the tests to open. And I'm gonna encourage you to try to practice with each practice test. So I'm gonna start with mathematics because it's first. You're gonna select your grade level. I'm gonna show grade 8 to start. You're gonna press continue, grade 8. You're gonna slide through these slides and begin the test. Once you're in the test, there's several tools that I want you to notice. The first thing I want you to notice is there is a drop down that shows you how many questions there are, and you can actually select to navigate to each test question by clicking each red number. So on question 1, if you'd like to start with the pointer tool, that's what the default tool is, and that allows you to select an answer choice. Another tool that we have is the cross off feature. If you click that button, it allows you to cross off the answers that you do not want to choose. Another frequently used tools will be using the flag button on the top right. This will flag a question, and it will appear in the review or in test that you have flagged a question. It also will tell you which questions are not answered in this box. Notice I've only answered question 1, so it's giving me an alert on every other question. I'm going to press return to questions. If I want to remove the cross off, I go back to this cross off box and click the red X again. If you want to highlight a question, you can use the highlighter tool to highlight part of the question you want highlighted. If you want to unselect, you just click the same spot that's highlighted. If you want to clear all of them, you would say clear all. The next tool that's available is the notepad, and that allows you to do scratch work, type in the box in the notepad tool. You can also zoom. You can zoom way in, and you can use your keypad to scroll up and down from that spot, and you can also turn it off to get out of zoom. The next tool that's available is the line guide. If you select the line guide, you'll notice that a box appears on the top right, and it allows you to slide down the line tool up and down so that you can keep track of what you're reading as you're going along. The next tool available is the measurement tools. So you can pull out a ruler, you can rotate it, and then of course you can remove it with the X when you're done. The next tool is called masking. So if you want to cover up an area that's distracting you, you can cover up as much and as little as you want using this little drop down, this little button on the top right or bottom right. It allows you to select it and change the size of the box, both vertically and horizontally. And then the last tool that's available in the math section is your LEAP reference sheet. So if you click on that, it'll pull up the LEAP reference sheet. You will also get a paper copy of your LEAP reference sheet, but it's there for you always. When you're in the calculator section, you will always have the calculator tools available as well. In 8th grade, the calculator looks a lot bigger than it does in 7th and 6th grade. In 8th grade, you have features like squaring, and if you click the orange button, it brings you to another menu where you will see the square root function, as well as the power of 10 function. You'd click the first to get back to the regular tools where you'll see your squared button, your parentheses, your pi, etc. and you can X out the calculator. As usual, when you get to a constructed response question, such as these, you will see the equation builder where it appears here. You can use your keypad and these special characters within the equation builder. It is not a requirement to use the equation builder on these math questions. You can use those same keys, like the multiplication symbol, the addition symbol, and the plus and minus when on your keyboard. But it is available on the equation builder also. You'll notice that there is an option to pause the test and then resume to go back in. And once you've answered all the questions, so let's say I'm answering, you can see which questions you have. So here's the drop downs. You can see at the end of the test which questions, if you go to review at the top right, review or end test, you can see which questions I have answered and which questions I have flagged. There is also some settings at the top right to change your contrast of your screen. If you're preferring the dark screen, it reverts the colors to where the dark colors are your background and the light colors are your words. You can also change the color preference, but I would not spend too much time doing this. I would pick a color preference that is the kindest to your eyes, that allows you to concentrate the most, and continue the test. I'm going to uncheck enabled so that I go back to the regular screen. If you spend too long on a screen without touching the mouse, sometimes the computer will time out and it will give you an error message that says your test session has been stopped. Raise your hand, let your test teacher know. All you will have to do is press OK and get back in through DRC and sign in as you did before. Right now, we're in the online tools training. So I'm going to continue on the tools, showing you now lower grade levels in math. Almost all of the tools are the same for 6th and 7th grade as I showed you for 8th. The only difference is your calculator will look much different when you get to a calculator question. The 6th and 7th grade calculator is just a 4-function calculator. So you have your division, multiplication, subtraction, addition signs, as well as the ability to make numbers positive or negative by clicking this button. Another tool that's showing up for 6th and 7th grade is the protractor. That's something that 8th grade did not have. You can again turn it sideways, twist it around, move it from place to place, and of course X out when you don't use it. As you can see, I don't have any questions answered, so that's why those red alerts are showing up. So make sure before you end any test session that all of these errors are gone and that every question has been answered. I'm going to end this test. Submit. Always submit your test. And then I'm going to X out of this one to do a different, do a different test tutorial. So now I'm going to go into English next, grade 6th through 8th. And you'll see that all the tools are the same, with this exception of there will be no math reference sheet and there will be no calculator. But you will still have the ability to X out answer choices that you think are wrong choices. You will still have the ability to do your line guide, except this time you can use the line guide on the left and then you'll drag it over to the right to keep scrolling down. So this will help you read those passages without getting lost. Ensure that when you see these arrows with the more, that there is more text, that you can use your keypad to scroll down. You can also click on the bar here to the right and scroll it up and down. When your line tool is in use, it helps you to, as you're going down, and pulling it down, it'll continue to drag the text down so that you can see all of the text that's available. As always, scroll as far as you can down to ensure that you answer every part of every question. So part A's and part B's. You can still mask, you can still highlight, and you can still use the notepad. And then the last 2 sessions we will go into are social studies 6 through 8. Again, you will have to select next, next, next to get yourself into the test, as you see me doing. Begin the test. There is the cross off, the highlighter, the notepad, the magnifier, the line guide, and masking. We're going to move on to now science. You will select your grade level. So I'm going into 6th grade first. While you're doing these online test tools, you'll notice that the questions are also questions that you could expect to see. So this is a good opportunity to practice doing a test if you take time during this trial run to go through and do these practice tests. Some of the options, some of the types of questions you might see have a box where you can click on it and zoom in. This happens in all subjects and grades with different questions. It'll say select to enlarge so that you can see it more closely. Notice it says control arrow keys to move it. So you can actually press control and then left and right. So if you know, go ahead and move this as far as I can so that I can still see the information or the options for A, B, C, and D so that I can answer this question while looking at the table. Once again, I can enlarge. Enlarging all of the graphics. You also have some formatting tools in your response options. You'll see that there's options to select, and you can also undo by clicking the refresh button. And once you've gotten to the end, it will appear with all the questions you haven't answered and all the questions you have flagged. And that does it for our tools tutorial. Students, make sure that you are going into each of these tests and getting yourself familiar, because your teacher will not be able to help you with the tools on the test. So make sure you understand how to navigate through and that you've practiced using these tools. And during trial run is the best time to ask your teacher questions to ensure you're successful starting this week.